Okay, so today I wanted to talk a little bit about push-ups. I think it's a movement that most people think about as something they should just be able to drop to the ground and do 20 push-ups, or they see someone doing push-ups and they're like, oh, that looks easy, I think I'll just go slam out a few, and then they actually try the movement and they find out that it's a lot harder than what they thought, and they kind of beat up on themselves for not being as good at push-ups as it seems like they ought to be. So what I wanted to do today is just kind of bring some clarity to the push-up as a movement. What's really going on? How much of a load are you actually moving when you're pressing your own body weight? So we have the scale here, and I'm just going to demonstrate a few things because I'm going to wait on that point. How you perform the push-up makes a difference as to how much of a load you're using your upper body to move, and how much of a demand there actually is on the midline, and how much of a core exercise it actually is. Alright, so the first thing that I want to do is actually stand up and just weigh my body, no judgment, so you guys can see how much my whole body weighs. I'm at 148.0 pounds. See? Okay, so my whole entire body weighs 148 pounds. When I go into plank position and only put my arms on the scale, and I'm holding a nice, tight, rigid plank, you can see the scale says 99.2 pounds. So if you're thinking in terms of a press, right, think about, let's turn it upside down for a moment and give you a barbell. If I gave you a 99-pound barbell, are you going to be able to just slam out 10 reps with 99 pounds? I don't know if y'all ever took weightlifting in high school, but I remember how hard it was for me to just press the empty bar when I was a little girl and untrained. Obviously, I train a little more now, so that weight is less intimidating to me, but my point is 99 pounds is not a little bit of weight, and that's how much of a load is in my upper body at the top of the push-up. So when I go to the bottom of the push-up, $110.8 pounds. As the angle changes in the push-up, the load actually increases. 110 pounds is actually the load that I'm going to be trying to move when I'm in my most compromised position, right? My end range, where it's most difficult to start to push that weight off of your chest, or as the case may be, you're pushing your own body weight away from the earth. The next thing that I want to demonstrate is what happens when I don't hold my midline in a nice, tight, kind of hollow, rigid position, and I go to kind of the default saggy position. What's going to happen to the scale when I do that? So at the top again, whereas before it was 99 pounds, it's now 10 pounds heavier just from that sag. So when I start out with a floppy, disengaged, kind of lazy midline, I'm already starting out at the top of the push-up 10 pounds heavier than where I would have been if I have that nice tight hollow position at the top. Probably it doesn't make sense for me to go saggy at the bottom, right? Because I would just be laying on the ground. But going off tension at the bottom and then turning the tension back on to push back out of the push-up, even harder, right? That movement becomes even harder. So for all of you people who think it's kind of the sissy way to do things to go to your knees and scale the push-up, right? What I'm trying to demonstrate now is scaling the push-up to your knees. It doesn't necessarily reduce the load on your upper body so much as it does decrease the demand on the midline. So we're going to do the same demo here, but instead of being in that full plank position, I'm going to be on my knees in the knee push-up position, nice tight core here. Now on the scale I've got 79 pounds. So that's only scaling the total load by 20 pounds from that top tight hollow position at the top. When I go to the bottom, we know that that load's going to increase. It's probably going to increase by a good 15 pounds at least. So again, that's the equivalent of potentially doing a bench press at like 95 pounds. And this is the scaled version, right? This is the knee version. The point is, if you're trying to get your upper body stronger, going to the knees is a good way to do that. So you're not trying to accomplish two goals at the same time by learning how to deal with that demand on the midline at the same time as you're pressing with your arms.